And slowly you can open your eyes, welcoming all of you after this short meditation into our wonderful Awaken to the Sacred Body Masterclass. I'm going to start things a little differently with today's masterclass, and I'm excited to try this with you actually. If you've been taking part in some of my previous masterclasses, you know that at the beginning we always do something to tune in a little bit, especially for those of you that are inside of my group coaching programs, Kim, Tabea, and Stefan. So nice to have you here as well. We were just having our group session yesterday, so it hasn't been long since we've seen each other. And it's wonderful to also have Valerie, Pat, and Brobening, and yes, Carol and Will. Wonderful. Sweet. Let's see. Give me a thumbs up, Carol, if you can hear us, and Will, if the sound now is coming. Yes. Amen Satnam. Wonderful. So first things first, as this is recorded, I'm going to ask you all to communicate only if I ask you to unmute yourself. Stay muted for now. If you want to, share and answer some questions, we'll have a bit of an interactive component as well. Use the chat function. There's a little chat function that you can find at the bottom right if you're tuning in from a laptop or computer screen, and it should be at the center if you're tuning in from a phone. I'm not sure about that, but you'll find it. You're smart. So today, as I said before, I'm going to start this masterclass a little differently, and I'm going to start it by raising a very specific question. And you might have to close your eyes once more to feel into the answer of that question. It's not an easy question, especially not if you've been conditioned to be, let's call it realistic, pragmatic. So close your eyes down once more. The question that I'm asking you all today, if you strip away the belief of polarity, let me explain, the belief of things are possible or impossible, the belief of things are good or bad, just the simplicity of labeling and interpreting something as one or the other. If you strip that away and you imagine a pathway in front of you in this life, wherever you're at right now, might be that the dominant topic for you is something with a personal relationship, your love life. It might be that it's very mental or emotional health oriented. Maybe it's work-wise. Whatever the dominant point of focus is that you're sensing as I ask you to picture a pathway in front of you. And all the limitations that the world, the environment, maybe you yourself are placing onto that path, if they would just dissolve, if the problems that you're having and you're experiencing would just gently start fading away, where would that path lead? Where would you be? Where would you be if there was no resistance in the path forward? Just paint that picture for a moment in your inner eye. If a voice comes in that says, that's impossible, we turn down the volume. That doesn't exist right now. Possible and impossible does not exist right now. Where does the path lead you? What problem is there that actually doesn't exist from this point of view? And so today, my intention for this masterclass is to give you a certain perspective, a certain new point of view that comes with an approach to living, an approach to being, and an approach to moving towards whatever you are moving towards. An approach that can give you more ease and more peace as you're walking towards that, what you are seeking, craving, wishing for. So I would love to know, to make this a little interactive. Feel free to use the chat for this. I would love if you would engage. And just, open up a little bit about what if the limiting belief of I can't or this is in the way, what if that was gone? What would be different in your life? Would you work less? Would you make more money? Would you break up? Or would an ideal partner come your way? What's there in the conscious mind that you know you are truly wishing for in your life? Regardless if you understand what is creating resistance between you and that, what's the next level? What's the next step? The deeper wish, the longing? Yeah, put that in the chat. We all have one. No way around it. If you do not, then the concepts of today's masterclass might be already familiar to you, and that's okay. There's always little golden nuggets in there. Anyway, would you like to be paid more salary? Would you love to have a partner that is a bit more appreciative of your presence? What's up in the heart? I know I'm throwing you all into the cold waters immediately. You've read the name of this masterclass, right? This is not how to deal with anxiety only. This is how to awaken to the sacred body. I'll explain that in a moment. What would be there in your life? What would be there in your life? If resistance, polarity, good or bad, wouldn't exist, what would be alive? Stefan says, I would be free of anxiety and fear, free to be happy and spend as much time with family and friends and travel the world. Beautiful, yeah. Anxiety and fear. Who is also being encaged by that sometimes or often. I know I know that. I know these voices, I know these states very well. Free of anxiety and fear. Carol says to not have to worry about money, to move house, to do work more in alignment with who I am. Alignment, big word. Very glad that you chose it. I'm going to talk about that quite a bit today. Valerie says, I would spend a lot more time with friends and family, not worrying about money, traveling the world more often. Freedom, huh? Like this sense of freedom, like an experience of freedom. Tabea says, living the best life with all my lovely and beloved ones at a beach with caipirinha. Yeah, beautiful, specific. Yeah. And speaking of the word specific, if you have joined other classes, not of mine, but other classes maybe around the topics of manifesting, pulling in what you truly want, what you truly seek, attracting, law of attraction. Who's familiar with that? Click the hand raise symbol or just wave into the camera. Law of attraction, magnetizing what you truly want. Yeah, we've heard that stuff. Okay. And I'm removing the judgment from that today. It's a way, it's a pathway. But today I want to lean into something that might even be more efficient and effective than utilizing these laws. They are laws, they exist. So what is the topic Awaken to the Sacred Body all about? Sacred body, it's terminology that many people haven't heard yet. Sometimes they think it's just about the body, the physical body. The word sacred body came to me after a series of A, deep plant medicine ceremonies, B, a long commitment over months and months now already, almost up to a year of Kundalini yoga practice, furthermore chanting mantras, and really deepening into spiritual teachings. Sacred body was a message that came through, and it also translates to awakening to the highest self, the Christed version of you. Christ not related to religion, Christ related to the infinite light that shines within you. Just to give that a little different perspective. So the awaken to the sacred body concept, it's something that is talking about letting go of what I think I want and letting go of what I crave and seek. It's a concept of surrendering to something that we can call God, spirit, universe, and the higher forces at work. And that on a very consistent, deeply devotional basis. The sacred body contains of an accumulation of different bodies. I also call them dimensions or planes or experiencing life through a certain level. We speak of the physical level, the very logical, I can touch this. This is the physical level. So my physical body, that's one layer of your body, of your existence. And oftentimes, for most people, the only layer that they believe exists, right? The second body, the second layer is the mental body, the mental landscape. Imagine everything that's going up and on in here, in your mind, being a landscape. Trees, mountains, rivers, oceans, animals, whatever is in that landscape. If you've been to Bali, you see that there's so much trash all over the place. There's a really big plastic problem. And I'm using this as a parallel, as a comparison, and an analogy to explain what's happening on the mental plane / the mental landscape for many of us. Got a lot of trash in that landscape oftentimes. If we don't clean house, if we don't clean the mind. Yesterday in our group call, we were talking about something really interesting. And you guys remember, I was reaffirming what's your language, because your language comes from your thoughts. And oftentimes inside of your thoughts, there's so many like programs or templates that you copied and pasted. Let's say you're following a certain show, you're watching something on Netflix. Let's say you're in a certain community where a specific type of language is being used, and you start adopting that, using that, right? Swear words is a great example. So eventually, everything that you speak starts in your mental landscape, in the world of thought, right? Starts in the world of thought. You think of it before you speak it. Sometimes we say we have a faster tongue than mind. However, the subconscious mind thinks it. Even if your consciousness, your focus doesn't pick up on it, it starts in the mind. So the second body is the mental body. The third body that we speak of, the emotional body, the dimension of feelings. Now, for many of us, that becomes a little bit harder to explain sometimes. If I ask you, what are you thinking? You can take the exact words that are in your mind and you can spit them out, and I understand what you're thinking. However, when I ask you, what are you feeling? What are you feeling? What are you feeling right now? Curiosity about what I'm going to say next? Fear that I'm going to trigger something in you that you might need to process more? Gratitude for just being here and receiving this. What are you feeling? It's not that easy to explain, right? And the emotional body, oftentimes, when we start working on that, you might have had experiences around working with your own emotional body, which basically means you give space for the emotions to be felt, experienced, eventually expressed, and let go of. That's the emotional work that many of us are doing. If you're not doing it yet, that's okay. If this is the first time you're hearing about any of this, that's okay. That's amazing, actually. Welcome to the world of inner healing. What is the fourth body? What do you think? So we have the physical body, that's clear. We have the mental body, the world of thoughts, pretty clear too. We have the world of feelings, the emotional body. What's body number 4? Spiritual body. Spirit body. The energy body. And this is where things actually get really interesting and also a little bit mystical, because it becomes even harder to explain this. Emotions are already challenging sometimes to explain them, right? Click the hand raise symbol before when I asked you, what do you feel? And you immediately know what you were feeling. Click the hand. Amazing if you immediately knew. Usually we don't, right? It takes a moment. Now, what's up with the spirit body, the energy body, the body that accesses the space in between and beyond space, the body that is capable of traveling through space and time? In other words, you dream at night. Sometimes you wake up and the dream was so real that you think you were somewhere else, right? Your consciousness was completely somewhere else. So your energy body was not right there where your physical body was. And your energy body, and that's the most interesting thing that I want to dive into it with you today, is the energy body, the spirit body. When we start working with that body, things that you might have written down before, right? Like things that you might have felt like would be resistance on the way to your dream life, that freedom, that spaciousness, that abundance. The spirit body dissolves them so much faster than any other body. And it's a completely different approach to trying and solve problems. When trying to solve a problem from the physical body, let's make an example. You have somebody who comes and swears at you, throws their anger at you. Of course, that's also an emotional issue happening, but physically it might be a little bit dangerous, right? So a natural response would be to project your anger back, to go on the same level and to work from the same body towards that problem. However, there is always a clash happening there. When two of the same energies kind of hit each other, there's always this happening. If you manage to meet your spirit body, to get to know that body better, I'm going to tell you how to meet that in a moment. There's many ways, but there's one very, very specific and fast way. If you manage to meet your spirit body, and then instead of facing a problem, let's say a punch somebody throws at you in worst case scenario, I hope not, but let's roll with this example for a moment. Your spirit body will manage to move around it in such a different way that it starts dissolving this issue, or might not even pull it into your reality. In other words, you manifest a different reality. But it's not your mind that manifests it, it's your spirit body. And your spirit body asks for you to build a relationship to it. And when you build that relationship to that spirit body, that's when the sacred body activates, because the sacred body is just another word of your energy body. Your energy body coming in, bringing alignment to all of your bodies, the mental body, the physical body, and the emotional body. If we would be talking to a doctor right now, is anybody here a doctor? We would be talking to a doctor, right? Who's never heard of yoga or doesn't buy into it or doesn't really, very pragmatic state of mind. They would say, no, you got to fix that on the physical level. Like somebody has a disease, anxiety, give them pills. Sadly, still most of the world does that. However, if we find that alignment from the spirit body, which is indeed the most powerful body, it's the most powerful component of our being, it starts aligning all of the other bodies. It starts calibrating all of that you are on a cellular, physical cellular level. On a mental level, your thoughts will become more clear, clean, peaceful, enjoyable. And on an emotional level, you will find more grace, experiencing your human self with all the feelings and emotions that you are moving through. So if you're reflecting right now and you're going back and you're like, okay, the last issue that I had, what was it? Was it this morning? Was it yesterday? The last thing you would identify as a problem. You go back to that in your mind and you have a look at, okay, did I try to think my way out of it? Oh, it's not that bad. Oh, I'm just, I'm overthinking, like these thoughts, for example. Were you trying to trick yourself on the mental plane to think your way out of it? Could work sometimes. Were you actually allowing the mental body to spill over into the emotional body? And this is where things get interesting. Imagine it as a fountain. You have a fountain with 4 layers. The top layer, like a little bowl, right? Make it pretty in your mind. We don't want to have a plain fountain. Make a pretty one. Can be golden or crystalline. Take that top layer, and there's the water that's flowing in. And then you have a second layer. You have a third layer where the water ripples in. You have a fourth layer. The lowest and biggest layer is the physical body. It holds most capacity for water. Let's call it water for the simplicity of this image. It holds the biggest capacity for water. In other words, it's the heaviest. It's the heaviest. Then above, we have 2 that are rather similar in their size. We have the mental and the emotional carry vessel / body / part of you. And then all the way on top, we have the smallest, which is the spirit body. Now, if something comes in from the outside world, and I really want you to see that, because this is the key. If something comes in from the outside world, may it be energetically, may it be you identify it as physically, whatever it is, and you're going to call it an issue, a problem, or something that doesn't serve your greatest good, it starts dripping into that spirit body, your energy field. Now, if you don't have the tools and techniques to maintain, clean, rinse that spiritual body, in other words, to empty that water out, it's going to start overflowing, and it's going to go down into your mental and your emotional part of that fountain, into those bodies. Thoughts arise that co-create emotions. Emotions come up that create thoughts of like, why am I feeling this? I'm not supposed to feel this. Why am I like this? Just some examples that possibly are familiar to all of us at some stage in our life. Or it's a thought that comes up and triggers the emotion. So if that happens, if you don't maintain your spirit body well enough, it happens that those things go into the mental and emotional body. And again, that's okay, because we can empty that from there as well. We can use tools like breath work, meditation, yoga, which comes with both breath work and meditation. It's a whole toolbox. We can use any type of movement. We can go in nature, walk. We can go for a swim. Whatever ways to ease these energies, we can. However, what happens if we don't do that? Well, then it starts overflowing and it goes down into the lowest part of that fountain, the lowest pocket, the lowest bowl. And that's the physical body. And then things start manifesting on the physical plane, on the physical level. And most of us react completely surprised. Shit, I have this virus right now. Oh, the virus was there long before. Days, weeks, months, maybe even years before. Constant suppression and not facing your emotion. Constant bypassing of a certain thought that was seeking your attention. Constant bypassing of creating a relationship with the spirit body. And then eventually these things manifest in the physical body. And again, if you're looking at it from the point of view of the physical body, it's hard to comprehend. I think most of us in here can comprehend what's happening with the mental and emotional body and how then that starts spilling over, right? maybe very few of us can comprehend what's happening on the spiritual body, the spiritual plane, dimension. So the approach that I've been investigating for a while now, and I'm always super excited to share, is instead of trying to work our problems out from the physical plane, some of them, through the mental emotional plane, why don't we go to the source? Why don't we go to the source? And we build a relationship with source, God, spirit, universe, so that our intuitive sensing, in other words, your sixth sense, your expanded awareness, your expanded consciousness can go on, and you can start sensing these things in advance before they happen. So that way before the event occurs, you already sense, oh, if I do this, I sense there's a chain of happenings coming there. There's like this rat tail. In German, we have the word Rattenschwanz. I think that translates into English as like a rat tail, like a series of events that happen based on, one turn that we took that wasn't in, and here comes the word, alignment with our spirit body. And our spirit body, which is really cool, it doesn't know individuality. It doesn't know your identity, or at least it doesn't identify as your identity. Your identity, in other words, is your ego, your I-ness, the human that was created the moment the soul hit planet Earth and you popped out of your mother and you were in human shape. That was the day the ego, the I, was created. Before that, there was just source, energy, the spirit body. So the spirit body is much more interconnected with everything. And, it's something that we come back to. It's not something we have to completely learn. It's something that has been there all the time. If you think back to your first, let's say, 1 to 2 years of your life, you probably don't remember that much because your identity wasn't alive yet. Your ego was still finding form. So you were just in the being. If you remember that, amazing. I hardly do. I know it again now. I remember it. I know that feeling of simply being. Hmm. So I would love to hear from some of you, when it comes to your relationship to spirit body. And you can let's do it that way, since we're quite a couple in the space today. Let's use a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being I'm very familiar with my spirit body. I have a strong relationship to God, spirit, universe, the divine, whatever you want to call it. Then that's a 10. A 1 is I have no relationship to spirit. Not yet. 6. Beautiful. 5, 7, 5. I'm glad there's no 1 yet. Well, it wouldn't be bad if there was a 1. If there was a 1, if there is a moment or a stage in your life where you feel completely disconnected, and it kind of comes and goes, right? Like sometimes you might get so caught up in work or so caught up in something that the ego wants, you lose that connection a little bit, you lose that relation a little bit, and you forget that you are a child of the divine God, spirit, universe. You forget that you are a soul, and you identify fully with the body, with the ego, with the I-ness. You forget that a little bit, and that's okay. What happens then is, how fast can we come back to it, right? How fast can we anchor our consciousness back into, I am a soul, I'm energy, I'm a spirit body. I'm going to view life from that point of view. We talked about that in the group call yesterday. Really deep, huh? That was deep. Today is deep too, but that was like, whew, really getting to the core of understanding the perspective of the spirit body versus the ego body, the identity. None of them is better or worse. But if you view life from a perspective of everything is happening for me and my greatest good, as I am devoting my life to the divine, to my spirit body, to working on bringing the best of all of that I am to this world, you do that, life works out for you. If you don't do that, the universe, God Spirit, is going to give you hints. It's going to give you these little, that direction, pivot a little. And sometimes the ego doesn't see that or doesn't sense that because it's so busy with something physical. I'm ill, so I'm going to keep taking medication. I run from something, so I'm literally going on a run every day instead of actually feeling what I need to feel. I've heard it all. I've seen it all, really. And I bet you have also, seen a lot of these behaviors. So what's a way that we can rebuild that relationship? That's one thing that I want to discover with you today a little bit. I want to give you one of these ways to do that. Who knows about Sanskrit, ancient language, mantras? They come from all types of cultures. They are used in different kinds of religions. So I'm not looking at them from a religious point of view. I'm looking at them from an energy point of view because the spirit body doesn't know religion because religion is an identity. I am ABCD, but spirit is I'm a soul. There's frequencies, there's energies, and they can take shape in the physical form to bridge me back to spirit. And so I want to allow us to experience one of these ways, one of them that I do find the most efficient, actually, and that is devoting our time to mantra. Today, we're going to use an English mantra, which is put into a beautiful, beautiful song. And you don't have to sing along. I'm just going to ask you to receive it. Just receive that piece of music. Feel what it does inside of you. Feel those words. Observe what the heart does, what the breath does, and just lean into it. It's only going to take 2 hours. I'm joking. It's not going to take 2 hours. It's just going to take a moment. So go ahead, close your eyes. Do you need to use the bathroom before this? Sure do. And close your eyes down. Make it comfortable for yourself. You can even lay down if you want to, if you have access to that. If not, just lean back on your chair, on your couch, wherever you are sitting.
Now is the time when I let go of my fears, inhibitions, and sense of dread. When I give up control and I let you hold me with no resistance in my soul. Now is the time when I let go of my fears, inhibitions, and sense of dread. When I give up control and I let that you hold me with no resistance in my soul. This is the day when I throw it all away into the fire of the all-loving one. Now I have just what I need to be free to feel who I really am. This is the day when I throw it all away into the fire of the all-loving one. Now I have just what I need to be free to feel who I really am. Here is the place where I fall into grace and release into the sweetness of your love. I surrender. I remember the light and the beauty that I am. Here is the place where I fall into grace and release into the sweetness of your love.
your eyes closed. A deep, slow breath into your heart, feeling how your lungs hug your heart with that sweet inhale. Exhale tenderly. Just take a moment for yourself to feel the difference now and moments ago. What's actually happening inside of the heart, the center of emotional intelligence, when we allow our mind to become focused on words as such. This is the day I throw it all away into the flame of the all-loving one. And now I have all that I need to feel who I truly am. Just really remembering that your body and all that you are experiencing in this lifetime through the lens of a human. It's temporary. And it's also a play. From the perspective of the soul, it's a play. From the perspective of the human, it might be a drama. So whose eyes are you watching yourself through? As right now you've taken another step or another jump, even maybe closer to that sacred body, to that spirit self of yours. The all-loving one that resides within your heart. The divine, the pure, that is inside of you as you are inside of it. That's the relationship that allows us to awaken to that sacred body we speak of. To remember back to, I'm a soul, and the soul is effortlessly beautiful, pure, gifted, perfectly kind and loving. That's what the soul is. That's the blueprint, the template. As we stay in this sweetness, in this beautiful state of mind of remembering that a little more today, love to open the space for you, if you do want and do you feel like it, to bring some questions to this moment we share together here. If there's anything in this beautiful wave of wisdom that comes into your awareness as you're sitting here, if there's anything that you want to ask, feel free to do so. You don't even need to think of, is it possible to receive an answer? You can also just ask. Maybe by asking, the answer comes to you. Maybe your spirit body delivers, or maybe our soul, because they're all connected. Isn't it funny how when we started today, like just an hour ago, we were looking at these issues, maybe these roadblocks, and then we looked at a seeking or a longing, right? A wish. that we might have. And if I look back at these, if I scroll up in the chat, right, it's like free of anxiety and fear, no more worry about money, moving house, alignment with who I am, spending more time with friends and not worrying about money. There's a lot of the word worry, fear, anxiety. How alive is that in you right now? How alive is that, right? The beautiful thing here is the soul doesn't know those things. The soul doesn't do them. It's just a human. And so as we also look back on this image that we created to explain the four bodies and how they're linked, you remember the fountain, right? The bottom one, the physical body, then the two middle ones, the mental and emotional bodies, and then the upper one, the spirit body. You might realize now that there might be some old waters accumulated in some of those, right? In form of thoughts that haunt you sometimes, form of emotions that you neglect, you don't appreciate, you don't like to feel them, so you'd rather distract with something physical, for example. And if you realize those things, it's okay. Like, that's what it means to be human. To accumulate them, but even more it means to become superhuman, to awaken to the sacred body, is to start cleaning them so that the water that flows is fresh and it keeps flowing. It doesn't get stagnant. It doesn't get stagnant. So for those of you that sit here, we have Stefan, Tabea, and Tim. You guys are inside of my Awaken to the Sacred Body program. Created this whole 4-month journey that you guys are walking through. And, my human would wish it wouldn't take 4 months to do that kind of work. But we're 2 months in and you guys already, you know what it's been, and you know that it's a path to walk. It's a path to walk. And if any one of you who isn't in that program yet does feel the pull and does feel that magnetism to meet that soul more, and to start viewing life more from that perspective, I can, and I will later on send you the details to that program. I don't want to spend time here on marketing anything. This is a little sacred cocoon. I'll send it later. You can read into it, feel into it. The next round is happening in January. I'm taking another handful of beautiful humans on that journey to remember the soul again. And along the way, get some really helpful practices too for everyday life, breath work, meditation, some movement practices, mantras, some yoga influenced practices. Yeah. Funny how when I asked, are there any questions, nothing came up. And I'm sensing that usually when we get to this state of mind where you're connected to the soul, right? And where you're like, okay, the soul, everything actually is okay. Yes, there is stuff on the human and the physical level that, might have to find its way, but everything is usually okay. No more questions come up. No more, what am I doing wrong? No more, what should I be doing different? And that's this pure beauty of living life from that narrative, right? Where the baseline is nothing's wrong with me. I am perfectly fine with what I, could interpret as an imperfection, but I am just perfectly fine on my journey. Period. And then there's no more questions. There's just a surrenderance. Again, as you threw it all the way into the flame of the all-loving one, right? Gosh, I've cried so many tears over that piece of music. Such a powerful part. I'll send it to you all as well, so you can listen to it if, and whenever you want. Sweet. Well, I'm feeling completion. I shared everything that I felt like I wanted to share with you today. And if anybody wants to add something or share something, what that song did with you, what big aha moment or what you didn't know yet and you learned in the last hour, feel free to do so. You can even unmute yourself if you want to. One of my personal bigger takeaways actually was the image that came through with the fountain. I actually never saw it like that. And then that was very intuitive today. I was like, actually, it's a fountain. That's how they're linked. That's what this fountain is also representing. It's like, yeah. I have a month holiday to go deeper into where I'm going. Yes. Yes. Holidays. Holidays, holy days. So you better make them holy, right? Oh, Stefan is saying, I'm working through my mantras you gave me and still not breaking through to my emotional body, but I know I'm on the right path. And that's all that matters. You know, that knowing that you're on the right path as you let these tools work on you. You don't want to be the one doing the work because usually that's the ego speaking. That's the identity trying to do. You want these sacred tools and frequencies to start working on you from the spirit body. It's much more efficient, trust me. The fountain concept was beautiful. Thank you for expressing it. Yeah, sweet. Thank you. Yeah, and thank you for being here too. Wonderful having you. Yeah. So as we come into completion for today, just gonna ask you to keep this beautiful, beautiful sweetness of today's session. Maybe some of the things that were spoken about created some rumbling inside of you, some movement inside the mind or the emotions. Take another 10 minutes. Don't rush off into anything else after this masterclass. Just sit, integrate, breathe, drink, reflect, maybe finish some of the thoughts in your notebook. It's beautiful wisdom to take out of it. And absolutely, Carol, you get the recording. I will send it out today per email, and I'll make sure that all of you have it. If you don't get it from wherever I'm sending it, just message me, okay? Be like, June, didn't get it, because technology doesn't always flow as much as other things do, at least not in my experience. So just let me know if you don't get it. It's going out to you. The song is going out to you. The recording is going out to you. The links to the Awaken to the Sacred Body program is coming to you if you want to read into that. There's actually another thing that I wanted to share with you, and that is more for people that have already been walking a little bit on the path of consciousness and development and starting to maybe guide others to a certain extent. So yoga teachers or, mentors, coaches. I'm starting a new program also in January, which is called Sacred Breath Facilitator. It's a 7-week journey to learn how to facilitate breathwork and to become a breathwork teacher and a breathwork facilitator. So it's another thing that's happening, and I'm so excited about it. So excited about it. So I'll share that with you as well. You can read into it, and maybe some of you want to join. Would love to welcome one or the other. All right. If that feels in completion, give me a little hand raise signal. And then once you've done that, you take that hand that you're just raising, either metaphorically or digitally. You take that one hand, you take the other hand, and you're going to put them together. And then you're going to take them apart again, and then you're going to put them together again, and then you're going to take them apart again, and you speed that up, and it's called clapping, and you're clapping for yourself because you showed up today. Whee! Applauding yourself. Satnam, divine truth, may it always be with you, and grateful that you all were here. So much love. Mwah. Bye, everyone. So much love. Yeah.